Welcome back sa ating Business and Transfer Tax class. Ako pa rin ang inyong guro, Romualdo Fernandez Credo. So tayo ay nasa percentage tax na chapter 9. So kung kayo ay handa na, kumuha ng ballpen at papel para sa inyong notes. So let's start. So our discussion on this chapter, chapter 9, percentage tax part 1, will focus on the 3% tax on gross sales or gross receipts. Katulad ng nabanggit natin dun sa introduction to business taxation, so ang sale of goods or services it's either subject to percentage tax or VAT. So kapag na-exceed yung VAT limit, automatic ang taxpayer na engage in business ay subject na ng VAT kapag na-exceed niya yung revenue requirement for VAT. Or pag hindi niya na-exceed naman, pwede pa rin siya maging VAT taxpayer pero mag-avail siya ng optional VAT registration. So pag hindi niya na-avail at hindi niya na-exceed yung limit, siya ay subject to 3% gross sales or gross receipts. Depende kung siya ay nasa selling or nasa services siya. So, percentage tax on gross sales and gross receipts. And then yung ibang percentage tax will be discussed sa part 2 ng percentage tax. Sa National Internal Revenue Code Section 116 to 117, in-enumerate niya yung subject ng percentage tax. At ano-ano tong mga ito? Ito yung letter A to L na ipipresent natin today. However, yung B to L ay tinatawag nating other percentage tax kasi iba-iba yung rate niya, hindi lang siya 3%. So, yun lang yung mahirap dito sa percentage tax, especially sa other percentage tax, kasi iba-iba yung rate. So, all you have to do is remember kung ano yung rate, applicable rate, and then multiply mo naman na dun sa amount. Wala na masyadong complicated na computation. So, unahin natin yung letter A na cover ng percentage tax under sa NIRC natin, National Internal Revenue Code. So, yung first is yung introductory statement natin kanina. Yung 3% percentage tax, kaninong mag-a-apply yan sa sale of goods and services na hindi ma-meet yung revenue requirement to be a VAT taxpayer na 3 million pesos. So, the moment, so pag may month na ma-exceed mo na yung, ma-estimate mo na ma-exceed mo na yung revenue cap na 3 million, dapat magbayad ka na ng VAT. Mag-start ka ng magbayad ng value added tax. Let's go sa other percentage tax. We also, ano pa ang ibang subject ng percentage tax? So, we have tax on domestic carriers, and tax on international carriers. Yung carriers, ibig sabihin yun yung sa transportation of goods at saka individual or persons. No? So, domestic, ibig sabihin within the Philippines lang, and international yung international carriers, syempre. Among magko-cross country siya, among countries ang involved doon. Dito naman sa domestic, syempre, in the Philippines lang. So, we also have franchise tax, amusement tax, yung sa places for enjoyment. So, subject siya ng amusement tax, which is a percentage tax. Letter F, yung winnings is subject to percentage tax. Another is yung stock transaction. So, pag bumili, nagbenta ka ng shares, may stock transaction ka, yun ay yung income na mag-generate mo din is subject to percentage tax, which is a business tax. Another is yung overseas communication. So, pag mayroong overseas communication, wait lang, baka subject to percentage tax yan. Another is yung banks and non-bank financial intermediaries. And then, mayroon pa tayong other non-bank. So, ulitin natin sa area ng financing business, ang classification nila ay banks, non-banks, and other non-banks. Kasi iba-iba yung rates nila. Although similar yung kanilang operation, halos pare-parehas sila kasi nasa financing activity sila, pero based sa kanilang qualification, iba-iba yung rates. Letter K, tax on life insurance companies. And last, letter L, tax on agent of foreign insurance. So magkaiba yon. Magkaiba yung rates na mag-a-apply sa life insurance companies at saka yung agent ng foreign insurance. So, ang tinatax dyan is yung agent ng insurance company na na-create abroad kasi foreign insurance. So, sabi nga natin kanina, B to L will be discussed sa next chapter natin, sa chapter 10. So let us proceed dun sa rules on tax base and taxpayer of percentage taxes. So generally, yung percentage tax, ang base natin ay gross receipts. Reminder lang, pag hindi nyo na maalala, ma-recall kung ano ibig sabihin ng tax base, doon natin i-multiply yung tax rate. So ang general tax base natin dito sa percentage tax is gross receipts. So, ibig sabihin, wala nang deduction to get yung gross receipts. Kung gross receipts ang kanyang tax base. Kasi in general lang naman. So, mayroong mga cases na hindi. Pero in general, ang tax base mo ay gross receipts. Which means, ano ibig sabihin ng gross receipts? Yung cash actually or constructively received. Yung gross receipts means yung tatanggapin mong pera based dun sa transaction na yun. Kung hindi mo matatanggap personally, constructively received. For example, na i-deposit na sa account mo, be constructively received na yan. Receivables, all the income thereon is earned already, are not yet taxable. So, pag meron pang hindi nare-receive, hindi mo muna siya i-report as part ng gross receipt. Kailangan pag nagkaroon ng actual receipt. So, ito yung maganda dito. Sabi dito, there are no deduction from gross receipts to arrive at the taxable gross receipt except, so ang magiging deduction lang just in case is returns, allowances, and discount. So, yun na lang ang ibabawas mo. So, wala nang, katulad ng sinabi ko kanina, wala nang complicated formula or procedure sa computation ng tax, ng percentage tax, kasi madali na lang siya. Multiply mo na lang siya. Ang problemahin mo na lang is to remember yung mga rates. So before we go to illustration, let me just reiterate na yung 3% percentage tax is applicable, letter A, to those who are exempt from value-added tax under the Section 109 of the National Internal Revenue Code, or letter B, to the person who did not avail of optional VAT registration. So, hindi niya na-meet and hindi siya nag-avail ng VAT. So, meaning, kapag hindi niya na-meet pero nag-avail siya ng VAT, yung 3% is still would not apply. Bakit? Siyempre, magiging VAT pa rin siya taxpayer kasi nag-avail siya ng optional VAT registration. So, let me reiterate na kahit hindi mo ma-meet yung 3 million na revenue requirement, pwede ka pa rin maging VAT taxpayer. That is kung nag-avail ka ng optional registration. Pero pag hindi mo na-meet tapos hindi mo rin hindi ka rin mag-avail, so ibig sabihin you will be paying 3% na percentage tax. So let us now proceed to the illustration sa computation ng percentage tax na 3% on sale of goods and services. Mr. A, whose annual gross sales never exceeded 3 million. So, it only means na percentage taxpayer siya. Kasi hindi nag-exceed daw ng 3 million ang kanyang sales. Pero in a month, ang gross sales niya is 100,000. May sales return and allowance pero na 5,000 and sales discount na 2,000. So, ang percentage tax daw is so, paano ba i-compute? So, ang tax base natin is gross receipt. Tapos, ang tax rate natin is of course 3%. So, gross receipts times tax rate. However, sabi natin kanina, sa determination ng gross receipts, ang gross receipts is yung actual cash na marireceive. Na na-receive pala or marireceive. Constructively received, rather. Walang masyadong deduction, sabi doon kanina, except sales, returns, and allowance, at saka sales discount. So, ang gagawin mo muna, ibabawas mo yung 5,000 at saka 2,000 to get 93,000. Tapos, dun sa 93,000, multiply mo na ng 3%. Katulad nito. Yan. The answer is 2,790 pesos ang percentage tax. Illustration number 2. Mr. B is a trader. His gross sales in the preceding year amounted to 3 million. His gross annual sales in the preceding year did not exceed 3 million. Is he subject to percentage tax? The answer is yes. He is still subject to percentage tax na 3%. Bakit? Kasi hindi pa naman nag-exceed ng 3 million. So, ang highest na na-reach pa lang naman niya is 3 million. So, hindi pa nag-exceed. Ang sabi kasi doon ay pag nag-exceed ng 3 million. So, pag 3 million and 1 peso na, that's the time na magiging subject na siya ng value-added tax. Illustration number 3. Mr. C sells agricultural product. In 2018, his gross sales amounted to 440,000. For the first month of 2019, his gross sales amounted to 100,000. What business tax should he pay in 2019? The answer is none, because he is exempted for the following reason. He is not subject to value-added tax because of Section 109 of the National Internal Revenue Code. And he is also not subject to 3% percentage tax because his exemption is not under the paragraph on volume of sales. Illustration number 4. Mr. D had a gross sales of 3 million in 2018. In the first month of 2019, his gross sales amounted to 200,000, any tax not included, with purchases from VAT registered supplier at 50% of the selling price. Value added tax not included for 2018. What is the business tax due and how much? So since hindi naman nag-exceed pa ng 3 million yung kanyang revenue, so Mr. D will still be subject to a percentage tax of 3%. So therefore, ang kanyang percentage tax ay 6,000. So 3% times yung gross receipts na 200,000. So 3% of 200,000 is 6,000. Let's discuss optional VAT registration. When the gross sales or gross receipts of the preceding year did not exceed 3 million, pag hindi mo naabot yung 3 million na revenue cap, to determine whether it is better to be VAT registered or remain to 3% percentage tax, one must look only at and compare the percentages. So, hindi mo lang dapat daw i-compare yung 3% at saka 12. 3% kasi mas mababa. One has to look into the net effect of all the business taxes that converge on the application of the business. So, wag mo lang, in short, wag mo lang i-compare yung rate. Hindi porket mas mababa yung 3%, dun ka na sa 3%. Kasi, although mas mataas yung 12%, meron naman siyang deduction na input taxes. Saka meron pa tayong tinatawag na zero rated. Paano kung yung zero rated ang mag-a-apply sa'yo, di ba? So, titignan mo yung overall effect dun sa iyong business bago ka mag-decide kung mag-optional registration ko ba or magre-remain as percentage taxpayer ka na lang. So, to compare yung optional registration, maging VAT taxpayer ka ba o mag-percentage tax ka na lang, let us assume these figures. Sales, 200,000. Purchases from VAT registered person, 100,000, and then expenses from VAT registered person, 60,000. So I suggest pakipicturean itong data o pakisulat itong data para may compare natin dun sa para magamit natin dun sa ating magiging solution sa next slide. I'll give you time to copy or take a picture of this given. So una, i-assume muna natin, what if mag-optional registration siya as VAT taxpayer? So magkano kaya ang babayaran niya? So ito yung comparison. So VAT registered siya, syempre mayroong output tax yung sales niya na 12%, so 24 ang output tax noon. Pero hindi naman yun ang babayaran mo sa BIR o i-remit mo sa BIR kasi i-deduct mo yung input taxes. Yung mga tax na binayaran mo sa pag-acquire ng goods and services. So we have 19,000. So 12 at saka 7,200. Multiply lang yung 12% sa 100 at saka sa 60 to arrive at 12,000 at saka 7,200. So ang total niya ay 19,200. So 19,200 minus mo dun sa 24. So ang VAT payable mo, ang ibigay mo sa BIR ay 4,800 lang. So yan ang i-remit mo sa BIR kapag ikaw ay VAT taxpayer, nag-optional VAT registration ka. Pero pag hindi, at magbabayad ka lang ng percentage tax, syempre 3% of 200,000 is 6,000. Ayan. So, compare mo yan. Ganyan ang gawin kapag magde-decide kung mag-optional VAT registration ka ba o magre-remain ka na lang as percentage tax kasi hindi mo na-meet yung revenue cap na 3 million. Return and payment of the 3% percentage tax. So, sabi dito, it is monthly percentage tax return. So, monthly i-prepare. Monthly ka gagawa ng return, percentage tax return, at ipa-file mo dyan within 20 days. So, 20 days yung last mo. So, for example, for the month of January, yung percentage tax mo ay dapat bayaran mo na on or before February 20. Kasi after the end of each month. So, pag natapos yung January, 20 days. Ganun din, pagkatapos ng February, 20 days. Pagkatapos ng ano susunod sa February? March, ganun, 20 days din. So, April 20, ganun. Taxpayer with several branches or place of business, but all are subject to percentage tax, separate return daw ang requirement. So, hindi pwedeng minsanan na. So, for example, may branch ka sa Alaminos, ibang percentage tax return doon. May branch ka sa Bulinaw, ibang percentage tax return din yon. Or, pwede namang consolidated return na daw. So, ikaw na ang mamili. Pero I suggest, para minsanan na lang yung effort, it's consolidated na lang. Para minsanan na lang gagawin, tapos minsanan na rin ang filing. Matipid na rin sa form. So let's have an illustration number 6. A taxpayer had on record in his books of account the following. So may purchases siya from a VAT supplier to be sold at 50,000 daw. May VAT na 6,000 pero not included. May 12 purchases from non-VAT supplier of goods to be sold at 90,000. May 15, meron siyang sale na 30,000. Tapos nagbayad siya ng April percentage tax noong May 20. So tamang-tama. On May 26, yung sale of, meron siyang sale na 10,000. How much is the percentage tax for the month of May? So ano ba yung mga revenue niya? So yung sale na 30,000 no May 15 at saka yung May 26 na sale na 10,000. So ito total mo lang yon 40,000 times 3%. 40 times 3 is 1,200. So, yun yung percentage tax niya sa May. Kailan niya i-remit? Kailan ang deadline? June 20. Kasi pag nag-end yung May 20 days. Ayan. It is computed as follows. Please take note. So, transition. This is applicable sa mga percentage taxpayer. And then, during the year, may i-exceed nila yung revenue cap na 3 million. So, dati wala itong transition provision nung sa old. So, ang rule dati is, basta na-exceed mo yung 3 million within the year, cover ka na ng VAT for the whole year. Parang ganon. So, wala nang transition requirement. Pero, today, mayroon na silang ni-require na transition. So, ang mangyayari dyan is, for example, may exceed mo na yung 3 million ng October. So, dun sa next month ka pa lang, mag-start na magbayad, mag-cover ng VAT. Magbabayad ng VAT, for example, ganon. So, percentage tax ka pa rin from yung start ng operation mo until yung ma-exceed mo na yung 3 million and then yung month mag-start siya next month, nung ma-exceed mo na yung 3 million, saka ka lang magbabayad ng value added tax. So, yan yung transition requirement. Pero parang in my opinion, parang mas magulo ata yun. Parang mas maganda yung dati na once na na-exceed mo na, automatic, ang treatment na is for that entire year, subject ka ng value added tax. Kaya nga lang, ang disadvantage kasi nun is that since nagbabayad ka naman, ang binabayaran mo naman ay percentage tax, hindi, yung mga input taxes mo, baka hindi mo masyadong kinip yung record or wala kang record, wala kang accounting ng input tax kasi nga, you are confident na percentage tax ka naman, hindi mo sila magagamit. So parang ganun, hindi mo sila in-account separately. Kaya siguro din itong transition ay requirement ay nag-arise. Anyway, it's just an opinion. My opinion lang. Pero since in-impose itong transition, wala tayong magagawa. We have to follow. Okay, so as always, syempre merong application naman, no? So kung may illustration, syempre meron din kayong part. You have to do yung itong mga problem na to. So again, yung solution will be uploaded dapat sa ating Google Form doon lang. Wala nang iba. Para hindi naman ako mahirapan maghanap kung saan, kung kanya-kanyang message tayo, mahirap kasi. At kung hindi ko mahanap, siyempre, iti-treat ko na yun as non-submission or non-compliance. So, para mas maganda, doon tayo sa ating form. Drive pala, sorry. Doon tayo sa ating Google Drive mag-upload. Anyway, provide ko naman. And kung may problem doon sa link, inaayos naman kaagad. So, please, for your compliance, doon lang tayo sa, and para sa ikakabuti nating lahat. Kasi, malilito ako kung kanya-kanya tayong send ng, imagine ilang kayo for 40 plus. Tapos meron pa ibang subject. So, maguguluhan talaga ako kung kanya-kanya tayong ng send. So, kung magsisend tayo as much as possible or dapat doon lang talaga sa link provided para isa lang ang titignan ko at hindi tayo magkalituhan kasi pag nalito ako, kayo ang mas at the disadvantageous side kasi grade nyo yon. So baka hindi ko ma-record, hindi ko mahanap o natabunan, whatever. So for our convenience, both of us, so dapat doon lang sa link, please. Thank you very much. See you sa part 2, percentage tax part 2. Or tinatawag yun na other percentage tax.